This shepherd has an exclusive belt, and its buckle, made back in the Soviet era, is crafted from brass. And of course, the shepherd's indispensable weapon is his knife.
In the vast expanses of Turkmenistan, everything changes. The weather, the season, the day. But there is something that remains constant: the loyalty and courage of the Turkmen Alabai. Today we will tell the story of Gara Kelle, a real wolfhound, who is already 13 years old, but he is still in excellent physical shape. Gara Kelle has a purebred head, voluminous. He has the correct placement of ears and a wide occipital part of the skull. All this emphasizes his perfection in the exterior. A powerful short neck and a strong back speak of his impeccable anatomy. The correct position of the front and back limbs ensures stability and grace in movement. The shepherd says that when Gara Kelle senses wolves, he silently rushes at them, only uttering an angry roar. The story of Gara Kelle lives on today, an example of the loyalty, strength, and courage of the Turkmen Alabai. Alabai dogs are strong and resilient, having worked for centuries in some of the harshest conditions. In summer, temperatures often rise above plus 50 degrees Celsius, and these dogs face severe shortages of water and food, especially during the hottest months. Despite this, they continue to guard livestock and protect the herd from predators, demonstrating incredible endurance and loyalty. Their work demands constant vigilance and strength. The Alabai is not just a breed, but a symbol of endurance and courage in a severe climate. Look at his movement. He seems to swim through these mountainous landscapes. At 13 years old, he is in excellent physical condition. And, of course, I would like to point out once again his gorgeous position of the hind and front limbs. He stands firmly on his feet like a Greco-Roman wrestler. I can imagine what he was like in his younger years. Now show dogs that you feed 3 times a day with meat and give them medications against ticks and parasites every 3 months. At the age of 13, as a rule, they are already gone. They lie in their graves. The strength of this breed, as well as its endurance, is formed precisely in such harsh conditions. Gara Kelle is the result of natural selection. It contains the strongest qualities that are passed on from generation to generation. Amazing. He looks a lot like Gara Kelle. I even thought that this was his son, but the shepherd said no. By the way, Gara Kelle means blackhead. Notice how quickly the shepherd moves across the hills. It seems that he was just next to us, and then suddenly disappeared and moved to a point. A city person cannot do this. He will immediately begin to experience a lack of oxygen and will begin to suffocate. And his muscles will begin to experience oxygen starvation. The shepherd carefully gathered firewood to kindle a cozy fire and brew a comforting cup of tea. In these mountain landscapes, they usually prefer green tea, which warms them after a long day outdoors. I asked the shepherd what 3 qualities a dog should have. The shepherd replied that the most important thing was that the sheep should be under the dog's close attention and observation. Always be close to them, and not only respect, but also love their shepherd. He explained that a dog's attitude to his work is exactly the same as a shepherd's. What did he mean? Let me try to explain. If a shepherd is negligent about his work and does not care about the sheep, most likely the dog will behave the same way. For a dog, a shepherd is always an example. Then I asked how dogs should treat people. He replied that dogs make decisions on their own and sense a person's intentions hundreds of meters away. Their particular aggression is directed mainly at predators. Our dogs never attack people, and who needs it? Go to the mountains or the desert to steal sheep. I have never met such fools. The shepherd also added that these dogs have a unique character trait. They never hold a grudge against people, and even if the shepherd stops feeding them, they will stay close, faithfully fulfilling their duty, no matter what. I have often noticed that when the sheep leave the pen to graze, not all the dogs follow them. Some stay inside. I used to think that dogs that do not accompany the sheep are lazy, and I asked the shepherd why this happens and why some of them stay. He answered that the dogs that accompany the sheep rest most of the time at night, while the other part of the dogs carefully guard. There are many injured sheep that are left in the pen that cannot walk normally. They also need to be guarded. In addition, there are periods when lambs are in the pen. They are less protected than adult sheep and require special attention. For example, if foxes do not hunt adult sheep, they will happily attack lambs. Therefore, it is a mistake to think that dogs that stay in the pen are lazy. They always have work to do. They are very good at distributing roles among themselves. The shepherd also added that people and dogs are very compatible. People have a cold mind, like dogs, and only when they see a predator does their blood boil, like ours. In a certain situation, we experience a flash of anger and a storm, but most of the time we think coldly and rationally, like dogs. I hope I managed to convey the idea correctly. I am not a native English speaker, and it is very difficult for me to express my thoughts. In the background is a male dog named Akgush, which means white bird in Turkmen.
Gel Akkuş gel. Ma. Hus. Hus. Tut. Tut.
The shepherd's hut is made entirely of clay and hay. It is warm in the winter, cool in the summer, an ecologically clean hut. The shepherd says that the smell of manure, which combines with the smell of hay, is very useful for people who suffer from asthma.
Beleş.